Salut! For 50 days, Ryan Trahan and his wife Haley are going to all of the 50 states, and for each state that they go to, I will be reading one book that happens in that state. And today, they went to Georgia. Again, my predictions from yesterday were wrong. Seriously, I'm wondering how many videos at this point I've actually had an accurate prediction. It has not been many. Because they went to South Carolina and North Carolina, I thought for sure they were gonna go north some more and double back down to Georgia at some later time, but here we are. And I have already read a book that takes place in Georgia, so we are good. We have a new state unlocked. The book for today is another nonfiction, Hope Heals by Jay and Catherine Wolfe. Technically, I believe the majority of this book takes place in California. But they're both from Georgia, and quite a bit of the first part of the book, if I remember right, happens in Georgia before they move to the Los Angeles area, and then the rest of the book takes place basically in LA. But I'll also mention their second book, Suffer Strong, which I think also has moments in Georgia, so I figured combined it counts, and they're from Georgia. It's cool. We're good. We got the Georgia book, and look at how nice, aesthetically pleasing these look together. It's very pretty in the colors and everything. I'm gonna stick with this one though for Georgia specifically because I think it technically takes place more in Georgia than this one. My memory could be wrong, but this was also first, and I do think it should be read before this one, so, and it has my name in it, so. What it's about. Basically, it's about Catherine Wolfe and how she had a really bad brainstem stroke when she was in her 20s, and how she recovered from that physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, healing and recovering from all of that, and the recovery with Jesus and faith. And actually, I did want to read you guys a quote from Johnny Erickson Todd, who wrote the foreword, because when I was kind of skimming through some of it to refresh my memory, I saw this that she wrote, and I thought it was great. And I thought it was a great representation of what this book is about. So Johnny Erickson Todd said, "For if awful things do happen to you, you now have a guide. You have two seasoned warriors in Jay and Catherine who understand. You have two friends who can escort you through the grief and loss and out into the broad, spacious plain of peace and contentment." I thought that was a really good sum up of how this book felt. Honestly, I was surprised how much I was actually able to read because of all the medical stuff that was discussed. Of course, if you guys saw my Arkansas video, then you probably remember me mentioning I get really queasy with like operations and blood and anything medical, really. I don't watch medical dramas for that reason. I can't do it. Faint at the sight of blood is not a good deal. But I was able to read this. I think honestly I probably did skim through a little bit of some of the medical parts, but there's so much hope in this and a lot of great miracles and thought-provoking discussions, and Jay and Catherine are just such wonderful people, and to read about their story was super impactful. I actually don't quite remember how I discovered this book. I think maybe one of my Instagram friends shared about reading it, and that's when I was like, oh, you know, it's got my name on it and my friend really liked it. Sounds interesting. I'll give it a try. And I read it and wow, it's really good. And I think it was after I read this book that I found out that Catherine actually speaks at Passion conferences sometimes. I saw her speak there, not in person, but online, I think 2 years ago, and it was an amazing speech. It was great. To me, it seems like I learned a lot of different things in this book that has been helpful. I don't know how to phrase it exactly. Like basically finding them and their story was obviously amazing. And then being able to find that Catherine Wolfe speaks at Passion and their podcast has also been really beneficial. And then they mentioned Numbers 6, like the prayer in Numbers 6 at some point, that they sing it to the tune of Edelweiss from Sound of Music, and that was so fun. And one of the first times I think I heard about number 6's prayer being sung in a way, I'm pretty sure it was before I found Elevation's blessing song, which is basically number 6. In my mind, I found number 6 first here. And then another thing, this picture right here, when Catherine was in the hospital, she wasn't conscious a lot at the first part because of how bad the stroke was and the recovery and all that stuff. But someone gave her, I don't know how well you guys can see that picture. I might put up a better graphic up here. Someone gave her a little wooden cross, and it looked so nice and comforting to hold. And then like a Christmas or two after I read this book, my mom actually gave my sister and I wooden crosses, and they are so nice. I keep this at like my bedside area, and it's just really comforting to hold, and I wouldn't have known about this if not for this. And then also that anchors are a huge deal in this book because anchors and hope often go together. Catherine's wearing an anchor necklace on the cover. There's little anchors all throughout this book with little dividers. Here we go. There's one. So today I had to wear my anchor necklace. I actually only got this, I think, less than a year ago, maybe 6 months ago. And I saw it, reminded me of this, reminded me of my name, the symbol of hope, which I love. And I also really like ocean things. And what I like about this anchor, at least, I know there's all different kinds of anchors, but this one has like a cross in it here. And the cross is also a symbol of hope. So it's like a symbol of hope in a symbol of hope. And that's really cool. I loved all the anchor stuff in here. I think they mentioned towards the end that when they shared their story online and how much anchors and stuff mean to them, that a bunch of people sent them all kinds of anchor stuff, and they're like, okay, we've got enough anchor stuff, thank you guys. So that was kind of funny. Now it is time to rank the book. This is of course an adult nonfiction, so it is contending against Happy, Happy, Happy by Phil Robertson. And I do believe I will keep Happy, Happy, Happy as the first one. Interestingly enough, they're both kind of hard-ish reads, but for very different reasons. This would definitely probably be in the top 5 though, even though it's not number 1 in the adult fiction for this challenge. For overall, I'm going to link down below for you guys to have the community vote. For my ranking overall, I am going to put this at number 10, just above Skin and just below Shadow of the Mountains. Reason being that this was definitely more impactful to me than Skin, but I kind of had a more fun time with Shadow of the Mountains. So interesting that Shadow of the Mountains and Hope Heals are right there at 9 and 10, and they're both the most medical of all the books on the list so far. Maybe it makes sense. The reading strategy. Finished up with Georgia. I'm gonna guess they're going to Tennessee, which means they're probably gonna drive through Tennessee and go somewhere else. But if they do, that's okay. I've got Virginia covered, I've got Kentucky covered, and West Virginia I could finish in a day, and Ohio. Really, the only danger state at this point of where they're kind of going would be Pennsylvania. Unless they went crazy and went to North Dakota, but I don't think that's physically possible to do in one day from where they are at right now. We're looking good, we're looking good. That is it for this video. Let me know in the comments if you're watching Ryan's series and what your favorite Airbnb is so far. Let me know what you're currently reading. Don't forget to vote for what you think the best book is in the 50 states list that I've got linked down there. And I will see you guys in the next video. Au revoir!